Hey everyone, it's me, Sherri Borger. I'm going to be going over the October 2025 Stamp Camp cards. We're making 4 this Sunday, and I had a day out of town today, so I got started filming this late, so I apologize. And the way I did this is I had the 2 cards had a little bit more detail in assembling. Ended up being the first 2 cards, and the second 2 cards are fairly easy assembling. So that way, I figured everyone would be able to kind of end on a happy good note, because that way everyone could just pretty much catch up with each other at the end of the class. So I'm going to go over the 4 cards and trying to think if there's something else, but I'll try to just kind of explain them along the way. So I'm going to flip over my to my other camera, and let's see. Oh, got it. So what I'm doing now is your instruction sheets are in the emails that I send out. I am not gonna give you each a personal instruction sheet because I don't know if y'all use them anyway, but I encourage you to print them and keep them in a file, because it's very easy. Like, you want to get an idea for a card and you remember you made this card back sometime, and you can go through your sheets and find the card, and then it has the measurements in it and a few instructions on how it was put together. But most of you now are pretty good at just looking at the picture and kind of knowing what we're putting together. So that's why I've just kind of made a sample card of each one for each stamp camp. So those in Minnesota will have theirs, and then those in California will have ours. And I find that most of you just kind of look at those cards and get your I don't know how to put it, get your knowledge of how to put the card together. Maybe that's how to say. The first card, I know some of you aren't, last time said you're kind of don't need a ton of thank you cards, but this one I did make a thank you card, just because it's cute, and I'm sure you can find somebody to. Wow, I'm having a huge problem here. Okay, to give one to. There we go. This is the side gate fold card. So if you have your sheet with you, this is one of them you're going to check off. Side gate fold card. This is I have the all those cards we're going to tackle putting together the cards. So I will turn my bringer off here. That's terrible, sorry. There. This one is, I put it on yellow because I had, what I did is I found an old stamping paper pumpkin kit. I mean, we're talking old, like 2017 old. And these, the face of this, the fruits were part of a small card. So this was the size of the card. And so what I did is I kind of used all the measurements kind of to work around what I could get off of the card when I cut it down. So it's you're gonna stack, or yeah, the green first, then your fruit on both sides, and you'll know which one goes on which side because of the the difference in rectangle size. And then what I did with the circle is I did put it flat to the card, but you definitely can do it with some dimension. The reason why I left it flat is because then it keeps the card itself flat, whereas if you have some dimension, this side might always kind of want to keep popping up. So that's why I didn't. It doesn't mean you can't, but I will tell you what I did wrong. I will share. I put in the instructions to make sure that you put adhesive on this side of your circle when you're on the back side. So when you put it down, you don't end up having adhesive on all of it and basically putting it all together. And what did I do? I had my circle the wrong way when I was putting on the adhesive and realized I put on the adhesive going this way instead of going this way. So I just put a piece of cardstock on the back of it. It looks tacky, so I'm going to redo this part of it, but for demo purposes, I just left it. The inside, I gave you white to put in the inside. Then I had some, from this card kit, there was some banners, tags, and it had the yellow watercolor on there, so I stamped the word friend in the watercolor, and then I cut it into down to size. So the thank you, I'm not sure if it was from the same set or not, to be honest. I will say I'm not really a huge fan of this in the middle. I would have preferred probably putting it down in the corner, because right now it just looks a little, it just doesn't look polished. I'll say that. Maybe another thing you could do is trim around the word friend instead of leaving it a rectangle, and maybe that will make it a little different. But it's up to you. I didn't care for it in the middle. You could put it down in the corner, which would probably look a little better, or you could trim around it and keep it in the middle. That's my two things. And then for the embellishments, of course you got 3, and I believe you all kind of got different colors. Some of you might have gotten some green. I found some yellow that was left over from another project, and I used that. But you all may not have the same color of embellishments, and that's the way I did it. I purposely did it that way because I just was thinking, what does it matter, right? So this card is going to be your most difficult card in the 4 cards that we're making. This one again is going to be another one on your list. It is called the Z-Fold Portrait card. Z-Fold just means that when you look at it this way, it's the letter Z. Portrait just means the way your card is facing. So this is like a picture. That's why it's portrait. So it is in 3 sections. Okay, so you're going to look at it. Here's a section, here's a section, and here's a section. This is considered your front. This is considered your inside. We've made this type of a card before. If you remember, if any of you were doing the class when I did a hedgehog one, it was similar, but it, or even, you know what, even with the one we made with the sweater that we did last week, I believe, or last month, I think that was a Z-fold card, but it wasn't a portrait, it was something different. So it's kind of similar. I kind of liked this wood look, so I think most of you have some type of a wood look here. You're going to have, it's on blueberry, no, it's not blueberry bushel, Night of Navy, and then it's a cherry cobbler. And then you've got your wood panel, and then you stack all three of them that way. The inside is going to have your Night of Navy with a vanilla colored cardstock on top. Now, all of you are going to have them, and they're going to be all corner. They're going to have straight up corners. But I'm in my class in California, I'm going to provide a corner punch. So if you choose and would prefer to have it rounded, I thought that might be something you might like, because the front of this is a rounded front, but you don't have to. So and I think there's one corner rounder as well in Minnesota for you guys to use. So that's what I did, letting you know that. Do not put this in right away. I'm going to tell you why, because you're going to want to have it lined up so when the card is closed, it is behind the front here. So you actually, depending on where you put this, I put mine quite a ways towards the front of this front part of the Z-fold. So it does cover a big section. But now if you have this back a little bit and this comes back, then this is going to show. And so that's why you're going to put that on towards the end of your assembly. So you are going to have, for the front face, you're going to have Night of Navy. And then what I did is I had this, I used this die cut here. And what it did is it cut a frame, and I was first just going to have it just with the grass and not have this frame around it. And then I thought, you know, I think that would look pretty neat. So this card actually took me a ton of time, because then I had to go through with this again for all, I made 20 cards for all 20 cards to have the cherry cobbler as the outside of this. And so the very vanilla edge ended up going in the garbage, because I didn't know why I would save it, but a lot of other people would save it. I used just a grassy prairie grass for the face of this. And so you're going to put on your Night of Navy, you're going to put this on next. And you're going to try to center it as best you can on that Night of Navy panel. And then you are going to put this around it. You are going to probably use glue, because adhesive isn't going to work. You could use glue dots if you have smaller glue dots. That might work. I used glue, and I used, let me, oh, so sorry for making you wait. Okay, so I believe all of you were given one of these at one time. The reason why is because it has a fine tip on it. So maybe you do have the mono adhesive, something like this, and it does have a smaller tip. It's just not really fine. If you have this, just use it like this. Otherwise, use this. What I did is, after I put this down, I felt it would be less sticky putting the glue right on here. Just put a whole edge of glue, and because I have the fine tip, it was just easy enough to do. I just put a fine line of glue all the way around, and I used my tip, and I just had it butt against the outer edge of this and go all the way around with glue. You don't want to put a ton on because otherwise it's going to be just splattering all over, and it's going to also create some warping. And then I put this on, and then you do want to put some pressure on there because it is so thin. What's going to happen is it is going to pull away from that glue. And so you just want to put your hand on there or your fingers or whatever and keep a little hold on it for a little while, maybe 30 seconds. And if you take your fingers off and you still see it kind of pulling up, put it back down again. So you are going to get also some dots. Some will be these dots. And then if you asked for a second set, in the second set you will have these for your second set, because I didn't have enough dots for everybody to have them in both sets, so I let you have one set with the dots and one set with the red colored rhinestones. Okay, so now you've got this done on your face, and then of course it's going to be again where you're going to put your adhesive only on the back side of this, where you're going to put it. Then when you're going to put it on here, then what I would do is I would take this piece here and you would fold this, take this piece and have your adhesive on it and have it flipped like this underneath this. Then what you're going to do with that on there is you're going to go over and you're going to flip it back over here, and then you've got it tucked underneath here. Or you can eye it this way and just know that you're going to want to put your base in here underneath a certain area. And then of course you want to kind of straighten it up, because sometimes when you're doing this and flipping it over, it gets a little wonky, and so you just want to straighten it up. That's all. So this is our Z-fold portrait card. I actually say I did a pretty good job on this one. Just telling you. That's all I can say. So card number 3, I named it Meandering, and that is because that's the type of the designer series paper is Meandering Meadow. And here is what I did. So as you see, it's separated here, and it's really not that difficult of what I did, but it can be difficult when you're pulling it out of the envelope, because I didn't have it placed on the front like this. You're going to have to put it together. Now here is the only difficult part of it. DSP paper, of course, has a design on the front and the back. And so sometimes, like with this one, I know for sure I want this side that's got the pattern on it. And because you're taking them out of the envelope and they're not going to be, they're not going to come out like this. So you're going to want to put your pieces together. Just make sure that your picture matches up, because there are some of the designer series paper that have a pattern on both sides. This side, for the most part, I picked paper that had pictures that had the blue. So there's blueberry bushel in here for a color. There is this freesia color in here as well. Some of it has a little bit of, you can see yellow. So you could match it up with quite a few different colors of yellow. I also brought in, for some of you, I pulled out my, I don't know, it's crushed curry, but maybe Daffodil Delight for on top. But most of you are going to have the strawberry slush, and that is just pulling out some of the color from the freesia, and so it looks very well. I did, because of the picture, I felt it looked very, very quieting, if that's a word, or relaxing to look at. So I felt this would be a very good card to have as a sympathy card. So that's why you have what you have. On the front, there's on this piece, there's going to be two different sentiments that can be said. One is wishing you comfort, and the other one is my heart goes out to you. I've already got my dimensionals on there. So what you're going to do, you've got your freesia is on the top. So you're going to put your pieces on it like this, and you're going to put your, if you want, you can just do this first and then do each piece at a time when you put it down. But what you're going to do is you're going to put it down and put it kind of as close to the edge as you can, probably 1/16 of an inch on all of it. And then what it does is it leaves a really nice space in the middle. And then when you put your sentiment on, and I didn't in this sample I sent to Minnesota, I didn't put this on dimensions, but I have done it for this one, and so it's a personal preference. And then you will have 3 embellishments and put them wherever you want on your card. On the inside of the card is going to be, because I didn't want to leave it blank, and I had in the card, in the stamp set with the wishing you comfort, came this one, this saying, may you find peace, da la la, and I put that in the middle with the bushel color. You may not, maybe you don't like that, and that's fine. Flip it over, the other side's going to be white, and I believe it's not going to show through. If it is going to show through, then you'd have to cut yourself a new piece of paper. But that is this card, and I just think that, you know, it's like 1 minute I don't need any of these type of cards, and the next minute I need 5. So I figure you're not making a card that's of no use, because it will come in handy and you'll be very glad you have it, because at sometimes when a friend or a family member or something happens and you have to get a card, you don't have time to just run to the store because you're busy helping out your friend with their situation, and there you have it, you have something. Okay, card number 4. Now this card, for some reason, just made my day. I just loved making this card. You are going to have, it's half a piece of, they're both designer series paper, but one is a vellum series that we had a while back. And so this designer series paper, of course, is going to have something on each side. You're gonna probably pretty much know which side should go with what. This one, I just thought this looked neat with the leaves here, and then the flower look here. Now the vellum, you can definitely tell when it's one way, it is backwards, because it is not very clear. It's a very dull design. Turn it around and you can tell. And this series of paper, it's kind of a grayish color, so it's not, you know, black would be real bold. This is a real muted, like gray, which I kind of like. And so you're gonna stack a few things once you get these put on. And I will say, I did, again with this one, I did use glue, and I'm going to tell you why. And that's because you have a little bit more play. On one of my cards, I did, on the paper that was a little thicker, I did use adhesive and put it down. The only problem is if you have it a little bit off from the other piece. Once you put that down, then you're going to have to do a lot of trimming to get it to line up right. So I used glue. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room. I don't like to use glue because then you have more of a chance of having it warp on you. So on this one, now on one of them, I did use the liquid glue that was white. It dried clear, so it's not a big deal. On another one, I used this one that was already clear. You definitely want to get in the corners with the glue because that is what's going to keep it down. And then of course this middle piece. So what you probably would do is just run a line of glue here all around the edge. Same with here. You don't need to necessarily have it in the middle because once you get the glue down and you got it around the edge, it's going to stay put, especially because we're putting this over the top of it, so it will stay put. Again, I would do like the other one, is just kind of hold everything just a little bit just to make sure it sticks. And the vellum, of course, vellum will kind of peel up a little bit. So you're going to want to kind of run your finger along like this and run it around like this. You will feel the glue underneath, and it might even kind of bubble the paper, but don't worry because you don't really see it once it dries because it dries clear. You will have a square, a white square that it's just a 2x2 square, and it looks so small, but once you put the whole card together, it actually doesn't look quite that small. It kind of is quite a big feature in the centerpiece here. You will have, and not everyone's going to have the same, you will all have different leaves. What I did is I took designer series paper that had some of it had patterns, some of it had patterns of just colors. And I thought, how cool, make it look like fall leaves. And so you will have different types of leaves. I'm gonna just show you, let's see if I have some here. Yep, so I have some here in my bag, some leftover ones. And I didn't give out a ton of these. I tried to kind of mix this one with another type of leaf. So not everyone's going to have, this one is a really big one. Let me show you. Here, you'll be able to see real good. See how big that is? There's two things you can do with that if you want. Here was the third one. There was 3 different leaves in this. It was an embossing, a hybrid embossing folder. You put the paper inside a embossing folder, but the hybrid is, you can also put in the die cut in it as well. So when you fold it and then put it through the cut and emboss machine, it gives it a raised pattern, and it cuts it at the same time, so you don't have to do any cutting. It's already done. That's cool. With this big leaf, I actually did, this one it's the entire leaf that's in here, but as you see, it really does, it will cover up quite a lot of that square. If you want, you can very easily just trim your leaf, like I would trim it right here, where the stem is right here, and then just have these 3 pieces of the leaf sticking out from behind the circle. So you won't have those bottom leaves, you just have this one, and then it'll be a little closer to the middle. It's personal choice. The other 2 are smaller, so you're just going to basically place them where you want. So on mine, I put my square down first in the middle. I put this leaf on top of the square, but it was going to be underneath the circle that you have, okay? And if you want, you can put both your leaves underneath the circle and have the circle on top, and they both peek out from behind the circle. This one, I decided to have my smaller leaf over the circle and coming out, and then having my sentiment over the top of it. I thought that was pretty cool. So these leaves are big enough that you can use some adhesive, or what I used was the tear and tape, because as you can see, the tear and tape is small enough to fit behind each of those leaves, and it's small enough to fit at least the middle part of these smaller leaves as well. So I did this just so I wouldn't have any more glue on my card, and it's just less chance of warping. Then all of this is just adhered to the surface, but I have my sentiment. I have it raised on dimensions. Now your sentiment, don't cut it right away with your thing, because you just cut it out edge, because I have a different sentiment on each side, and so you can pick which one you actually want on this. And I don't remember what it says on the other side, to be honest. So you can pick it, and then you have the pearls for your embellishments. Now, because the card is white, your inside, I don't have anything on the inside. But what you could do if you wanted, if you have this big one, you could, if you wanted, trim around these leaves and maybe put a couple leaves in inside here, just for a little decoration. But that's personal preference. I didn't, and I just kind of thought of that now, so I'm kind of flying off the hip with that suggestion. But this one, I just really loved it. You all are going to have different types of vellum and different types of card base right here. Some of you will have exactly the same, and some of you will have different, because what I did is I took the I had them all cut this 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and then I put them together. I put the vellum and the designer series paper, the other one, I put them together, and then I sliced them at an angle, and then what you do is you match it up opposite to opposite, and you end up having enough, of those to make 2 cards. So it kind of turns out. So this one is a winner in my thing, and this is actually your last card. So you're gonna end with a smile, for sure. So that's what I have for cards for you, and so hopefully you all have watched this beforehand. I do want to mention with this card here, my sample for here in California, I didn't put any of the sentiments on it. You will have, I put it in the camera and I don't have the camera. So you will have sentiments that you can use. Now what I did is I got the set that had this punch. It actually punches 3, my computer's in there. It punches 3 tags at a time. And I did my little template, and so then I took my words. My words actually match up. They go together. The words are in a thing that says banner sayings. So you have all these different sayings. So what I did is I took 3 different sayings and matched it up to the banner punches, and so I punched them out. So there's going to be some sayings that are going to be on the cherry cobbler, and some sayings are going to be on the very vanilla. And you can pick and choose what you want. Some of them are going to be more that are going to go with each other, like you are loved, consider yourself hugged. Like those are I would put them together. If you wanted to put more than one on your card, that's what they're there for. You can, I've even seen, I saw some samples people had made, and they actually put all three, and it looked kind of neat. So just kind of play around with it. And I did the same sayings in the very vanilla, same sayings in the cherry cobbler. So you can go opposite each other with the colors if you want. Up to you. Gives you a little bit of fun. A little bit of fun there. I hope you enjoy Stamp Camp. I know I try to make it fun for everybody. And I will see you Sunday. So enjoy.